I don't necessarily agree with everything he says. I'm not in the business of doing that. But here's one thing I am in the business of doing. Let me finish.
If he didn't believe it, what would you think?
It's very important that you and I are able to discuss it. What happened before is what I believe to be completely unacceptable, where Alex Jones, because of 10 people on one conference call, said his point of view will not be permitted, and so we can misrepresent it for him.
In this video, Steven Crowder is back on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Steven Crowder and Piers Morgan battle over free speech and its limits in the United States. With that, let's watch Steven Crowder give Piers Morgan a lesson about freedom of speech in the good old US of A.
My final point on this,
Okay.
on TikTok. Would you be comfortable, you, Steven Crowder, with all the reputation you've built up for certain points of view, would you be comfortable if ultimately the government, the United States government, takes action in the way that you would like it to, and as a consequence, China pulls the plug on TikTok, and tens, maybe hundreds of millions of Americans who thoroughly enjoy TikTok look at Steven Crowder and go, wow, that guy called for more big government laws to censor my free speech right to enjoy TikTok, which is run in America by an American company separate from the parent company in China. Would you be comfortable with that scenario playing out?
Well, first off, that is such a loaded scenario that it would be tough to say which part, which I agree.
It's the inevitable consequence of what you're planning.
The Communist Chinese Party cannot have a golden share interest in TikTok because you have misused it. We already know you've misused it, so you've got to start playing by the rules. And they say that we're going to take our tiny little ball back to our house and go home. Yeah, I would be fine with that. I just think we need to play by the rules.
Steven Crowder, I want more big government laws. I want more censorship.
I thought you were past this. Aren't you starting your own platform? Come on, don't.
Are you not uneasy about the way this is going?
What was that?
You're not uneasy about this potential headline?
I'm not. I stand by completely, but that's not what I said. Piers.
From the king of free speech to whatever you want to call yourself, the CEO of free speech to the CEO of censorship.
You are into the royalty, aren't you? Get over it.
I think you'd make a good prince, actually. You would make a good king. Kings are reserved for people like me.
Sleep with my relative?
No, it's actually your name. It's not very kingly. It'd have to be someone like Piers. Piers is old English.
It's not very kingly, and my blood is still red. I don't have the blue. I don't think I do a
There's
very
a reason
good job
we've never
of being
had a
royalty.
King Steve. It's just not. It's not going to happen.
That's fair. We could agree on that.
Can we agree about this?
I know I'm going to come across corny saying this, but I got to admit, I kind of like this good-natured ribbing. I know these two, for the most part, kind of ideologically are on the same side. But, you know, Piers strongly breaks with the right on certain issues. So, you know, these two will butt heads, but I wish we saw more of this, I guess, especially between Republicans and Democrats, because I think within the conservative side of the population, we can have good-natured conversations like this that are actually productive. But between the right and the left, it seems borderline impossible. And I know the obvious thing to do is to blame the other side, but that's all that comes to mind right now, as to why it's so difficult to talk to a liberal, because they're so set in their ways. They're never grounded in logic, and the conversations get derailed really quickly because they get into their emotions. It's happened time and time again to me. It's one of the reasons I do this, so I can just freely talk and not have someone crying while I'm talking to them. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Talked about Alex Jones last time. In the last few weeks alone, since he was restored to X, and my criticism of Elon Musk led to him cancelling an interview with me before it even happened, because he objected to mild criticism of him doing a U-turn on that decision to bring back Alex Jones. But I think I've been vindicated by some of the insanity that Jones has been posting on X in the last few weeks. He posted a video of the terror attack in Moscow with the words "NATO strikes." Another headline based on one of his posts: globalist Macron plans Ukrainian false flag to launch World War III. Another video entitled "World Population Declines for First Time in Centuries as Globalist Culling Operation Continues to Accelerate." I mean, all of this, as you know, and as I know, and as Alex Jones knows, and this is the pertinent point, is complete and utter invented baloney and not based on anything even close to resembling fact. Is it right? I mean, you want to protect American interests. Is it right that you have somebody like Jones with the massive platform that he has, which you know he abused so badly with Sandy Hook families, he was ordered to pay $1 billion, right?
I don't know that.
What? That he abused Sandy Hook families?
I will go with you on everything, except I don't know that Alex Jones knows, and I don't know that he horrendously abused his platform. I just want to make sure that I'm clear as to what
well, let me explain what I mean by that.
I don't agree with what he said.
Okay, let me clarify. I would say that by the way he went about targeting the families of the Sandy Hook victims, in my view, is one of the most despicable, deliberate defamations I've ever seen. Hence the $1 billion plus payout, which he so far failed to pay, I think, even pay $1. But the consequences of what he did there to generate vast personal wealth by pouring misery, fuel onto the misery of those families, I think was unconscionable and should have been why Elon Musk, when he originally was asked about it and said he wouldn't let people who stood on the graves of dead children be on.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
On the platform, I thought he was right the first time. Anyway, we won't get into that particular debate again, but given
you
the
just
other,
did it. You just did for a minute and a half.
I'm talking
here, so
about
you
why.
get it
I'm
anything.
talking about why I had the falling out with Elon about it. But in terms of the recent headlines based on his posts, have you revised your opinion at all about whether it is right that people like Alex Jones are allowed to do this to big audiences on things like X, given they're spouting what I think is complete deliberate nonsense designed to make money?
See, there's the word right there. Deliberate. And you and I both know that you're familiar with defamation laws, libel, and slander. And someone can say whatever they want if they believe it to be true. Now, I don't know. That's the one thing that I said. I don't know that Alex Jones would know this to be untrue. I disagree with what you've just, of course, I can't see what it is that you brought up. I've never maintained the position that I agree with Alex Jones on everything. I don't. But here's the beauty. First off, deliberate is key. If he's deliberately lying, that's different. And there's a law against that, right? If he's deliberately defaming an individual.
You think
But
he
the beauty
genuinely
is
thinks that NATO launched that terror?
As far as what they're talking about with Alex Jones, Steven Crowder makes a really good point. And every time they bring up Sandy Hook, I forget the details. I mean, I know what happened. I forget the details all the time of exactly what Alex Jones did wrong. He called it a false flag, and I guess he was suggesting that the victims and their families were involved. Is that, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but then he got booted from X because Elon didn't think he should be profiting off of that. Then he got sued for $1 bajillion. And he was allowed back on X. But it is odd to me how they came to that finding in the trial. And I'm really not siding one way or the other with Alex Jones. I personally don't have a problem with him. I think he's nutty, but I say that in the best possible way. I think a lot of things that he has said have been outrageous at the time. And then later it's like, okay, if you trim off some of the hype that Alex Jones added to it, it's like at the core of what he's talking about, he's actually right. I mean, that seems to happen a lot. So, and then there are sure I'm sure you could give me a list of things that he's said that just are so far off the mark. But in Alex Jones' mind, those things might all be equally as compelling and accurate in his mind. That's why I'm surprised. Sorry, I got off track, but that's why I was saying I'm surprised that they came to such a large judgment against Alex Jones, because in libel and defamation cases, my understanding is the hard thing is to prove, did they know they were spreading information that was untrue to harm somebody else? And I just don't know how you can prove that with Alex Jones. But again, maybe I've missed something in the times I've read about that hearing. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments, but I'm an absolutist when it comes to free speech. I think everyone should be on whatever platform they want to be on, unless obviously they're violating the First Amendment by a call to action to harm someone or harass someone, whatever it may be. Because as has been throughout history, there are consequences, positive and negative, to the things you say. So whatever you put out there, you're eventually going to get it back. And we can all agree there are dumb people out there that are going to believe this, the dumb people out there are going to believe this. Even smart people believe incorrect things. But I do believe in the people as a group that they will judge things accordingly. Like if someone comes out being just a full-blown nasty racist, there shouldn't be much argument on like, this person is a racist. And then the handful of people that like that person, it's pretty obvious. Like, all right, we kind of know what camp they're in. But anyway, I just think good ideas will win out when you open it up completely to free speech, and bad ideas will be shot down, mocked, and lies will eventually be uncovered, as happens all the times in politics, especially with the Democrats. Anyway, let's wrap up the video.
Terror attack on Moscow.
I know Alex Jones, and I believe it's very likely.
Well, you think he genuinely
he's sitting at his
believes
computer
it,
saying, this is clearly has the marks from NATO all over. This is what's happening. And they're putting chemicals in the water that are turning amphibians into asexual anamorphic beings. I've seen the papers. I believe that he probably believes it, and I don't necessarily agree with everything he says. I'm not
If he
in the business of
did- if
doing
he
that.
did-
But here's
if he
one thing
didn't
I am in
believe
the
it-
business of doing. Let me finish.
If he didn't believe it, what would you
It's
think?
very important that you and I are able to discuss it. What happened before is what I believe to be completely unacceptable. Where Alex Jones, because of 10 people on one conference call, said his point of view will not be permitted, and so we can misrepresent it for him. You disagree with what he said based on what you're telling me. I disagree with his position, but the fact that we are able to combat it with better ideas or better information is far better for society. And by the way, the alternative is far more dangerous. We've seen it at work. If these people, and by these people, I mean the progressive left, would have their way, not only Alex Jones, yours truly, you eventually, Joe Rogan would be gone. When you have members of the administration.
Yeah, I'd much rather have to decipher what's true and untrue for myself than have the government or the far left do it for me. But we want to hear from you. What did you guys think about this conversation on free speech between Piers Morgan and Steven Crowder? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one.